Hello and welcome to my Pilates movement therapy session. Each week I invite you to move along with me in this therapeutic movement session. This is your time to reconnect with your body and to help release stress and tension you've been holding on to all week or perhaps even all year. So I encourage you to have a TheraBand handy. I sell these ones in the studio. They're $15 for a nice, I think it's just over 1.5 meters. Really good to support your legs when we do our hip series. And also a cushion or maybe a folded up hand towel just to place underneath your head to give you a bit more neck support. And also perhaps maybe you've got a journal here. These are journals I have in the studio. I've got some daily journaling prompts in there as well that help people guide them into, I suppose, journaling on a deeper level. And then in the back I've also got some of these Pilates exercises that we've actually, we're going to be doing today as well, if I can find them here in this page. Pages, my fingers are all stuck together. Yeah, and then we've got those in there as well. So just a little guide to help you on your daily practice of journaling and movement therapy. So to get started today, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to quickly adjust my camera so I'm in a better position for you guys to see me. But I'm going to stand up in the back here. We're going to start standing and just connecting in with the breath. To start off with, we do a little bit of a grounding exercise and then some shoulder movements. And then we're going to come down onto the mat and we'll start our mat series on the mat. So let's get started. So we're just going to start with a nice shoulder roll. Inhaling and exhaling as your arms mobilize at the shoulder joint. So we're aiming to move up into this space here. Nice and flowing, almost like you're a bird flying in the sky. That's it. 2 more. And last one. Good. Now we're going to rise up on our tippy toes and back down again. Rising up. Feeling all those little intrinsic muscles firing up to stabilize you as you're rising up. And back down. And 2 more. And last one. We're going to bring our arms up into the movement now, bringing arms up overhead and back down. Inhale as your arms are coming up overhead and exhale to bring your arms down. And as your arms come up overhead, let's be mindful about not flaring the ribs when we get to the top. We want to keep our ribs connected into our center, okay? So we're not flaring up like a gymnast. Just letting those arms mobilize without any rib flare. Got the last one. Good. Next one, we're just going to stand here for a moment. We're going to look over our shoulder. Instantly my voice wants to clear. I'm going to come back to center. I'm going to look over the opposite direction. Just taking it to that point of tension and then back to center. It's a vagal conditioning exercise. We're now going to look over our shoulder, our chin's level with our shoulder. Take your eye gaze and look over towards your bottom behind you. And you'll feel a little bit more of a stretch just by the eyes moving into that direction. Bring your eyes back, come back to center. And we're going to switch sides again, looking over shoulder and back down and then back to center. Okay, now we're going to do our roll down, okay? So I'm going to stand to the side so you can see the roll down. I'm going to gently bring our chin towards our chest. Then we're going to bend in at the ribs. So we're bending here, rolling down gently, one vertebra at a time. You can have the knees a little bit soft as well. Pull the belly to spine to protect your back. Let your arms hang naturally, and then engage through this belly button to spine as you start to come up. So it's like you're pulling up as you're rolling over, like a wave pulls up over itself as it rolls over. You're doing the same kind of thing, okay? So we're rolling down, mobilizing each one of those vertebrae, coming back up, stacking up, one vertebra at a time into that movement. And again, rolling down, looking down into your belly, letting those stomach muscles switch on to protect your back as you're drawing your belly into your spine. We'll work with these muscles a little bit more in a moment, but just for now, mobilizing the spine. Just noticing where you're tense, where you're tight. Good. And coming back up. Okay, I'm going to come back onto the mat now, and we'll get started on there. Okay, so just making sure you've got your cushion handy to support your neck, and we'll start with laying on our back with our knees bent. So you can see me there, okay? I believe you can. All right, so we're going to start with our pelvic tilts, as always, mobilizing through the lower back. So tilting your pubic bone towards your nose and then tilting down towards your toes. So if you imagine you had handles on the side of your hips, it's that tilting forwards and tilting back. So yep, and down. After you've done about 10 or so of those, or after you feel a little bit more of a release in your pelvis, we're going to do some circles now. So keeping the thighs as still as possible, we're rotating the pelvis around from one side to the other, mobilizing around, imagining that there's like a dish of water sitting between your pubic bone, belly button and hip bone, so in that space there, and you've got a little marble there and you're rolling that around from side to side. So we're creating a bit of movement through that pelvis on the end of the spine. So the rest of the back is keeping still, shoulders are relaxed, and just mobilizing through there. Change direction, remembering to exhale and breathe. And again, you might need a bit of movement with your thighs to get this moving to begin with, but the idea is that we don't have the legs doing too much of the movement, okay? So the thighs are able to keep still and that pelvis can move independently of everything else moving, okay? So you've got a bit of mobility there. Let's go with the pelvic curl now. So we're going to tilt the pubic bone towards your nose and roll your pelvis up off the mat into a shoulder bridge, and then rolling back down again. Okay, the pelvis rolls down, and then again, tilt pubic bone towards your nose and tilt up and peeling up and back down. We're not coming up too high with this exercise. We're literally just peeling the pelvis up off the mat, probably up to where your last bottom of your rib cage is, okay? So you can just see mine's lifting up off underneath. That's probably as far as you want to come up. So we're not coming up onto our necks. Again, exhaling as you come up. Inhaling down. And again, last one up. And back down. Okay, just adjusting myself here. Now we're going to bring our legs a little bit further away from our bottom, okay? So we're in that position there. We're going to do our knee floats, okay? So we're going to float the knee up and back down again. So it's literally just lifting from the foot and the hip. The knee's not bending or changing shape. So just keeping lifting from there. And you can feel these muscles here, your deep hip flexors or deep stomach muscles working to help bring that leg up. And again, got 2 more of these. That's 1. And that's 2. Good work. Okay, we're going to bring our legs up to tabletop now. So one leg comes to tabletop, the other leg joins it, holding in that position now. Exhaling, toe tap down. Inhale, back up. Exhale, down. Inhale, back up. Watching that your back isn't arching and lifting up, using those stomach muscles to help support your back from arching or flattening. We want to keep that neutral spine, that neutral shape of the spine as you're lowering your legs down. If it is getting a little bit achy, you can bring your knees closer to your chest. That's the safer zone, and you can lengthen that leg down. But if you want a bit more of a challenge, bring the knee more over the hips, okay? So more there is more of a challenge. I feel like I'm lifting off there. Back here, you're a bit more protected, okay? So that's just one way to help your back from arching and straining, but still building your core. Okay, we've got 2 more of these. Exhaling down, inhale up. Last one. Good. Bring your knees into your chest, roll them into your chest. You can feel your your tailbone coming off the mat behind you. Taking a breath, exhale. Now we're going to hold the knee to your chest and let the other leg lengthen down, okay? Holding that knee into your chest, if that's okay for you. Of course, with all these exercises, you're working within your limit. If we had a scale of comfortable from 1 to 10, we want to sort of aim for that 10, okay? So we're aiming for that 7. So we're just working within that nice comfort zone. So we're not overdoing it. We're not activating a stress response. We're just keeping everything nice and slow and gentle with the breath pattern. And yes, we're going to swap that leg over again, bringing that knee to your chest, releasing those hips. Okay, bringing legs to bent now. Hands are going to come back behind head. We're going to come up into our chest lift. This time when we're coming up into our chest lift, you're looking into your belly and you're pushing your head back at the same time as you're pulling up. So there's a counter push-pull in the head and the neck and the arms. Okay, so again, exhale coming up, looking into your belly. And back down. And this is a nice way to do your chest lifts without straining your neck. And back down. And again. And again, watching you're not tilting your pubic bone towards your nose as you're coming up, so you're keeping that in your neutral position. Again, exhale up. Really working those deep tummy muscles TRA, transverse abdominis. And one more. Good work, and resting down. Okay, now we're going to roll over onto your side. Now, if you have a foam roller or a nice little cushion like I have here, like one of these little half circle foam rollers, you can rest that onto the side. I just use mine just to support my head a little bit better when you're on your side. We're making sure your knees are aligned in this position here, head's resting onto the mat, arms out in front. So your knees are level and your hips are, your feet are just behind your sit bones, okay? So you're in that 45-degree angle from the hips. And we're lifting that top leg to do our clams. And I often put my hand there just to help activate those glute muscles that are supporting our hips. And it also helps with that like kinesthetic connection between the brain and the body as to what muscle you actually want it to work. So just touching it can also help activate that muscle. Got two more. And last one. Good. I'm going to straighten the leg out. We're going to do 10 circles in each direction. Just a nice gentle exhale as the leg circles around. Not holding your breath. Let the breath help release the muscle or activate the muscle. And then change direction if you haven't already done so. Good, and then resting that down. Okay, then we're going to lengthen our legs out and we're going to do side lying leg lift, okay? So this is not for everyone. If this is too strong for you, I'm going to show you another exercise we can do in a second, but give it a try. So you're laying on your side, you're supported here. This hand isn't pushing down into the mat, it's just touching. That bottom leg lifts up to meet the top leg, and my leg's going to shake. So we're here and we're lifting that bottom leg. If that's too much for you, we can start with one foot there, if that works for you. Hold it there and we're going to lift that bottom leg. That can also work, okay? But that's the end goal, is to lift that bottom leg to the top leg. It's working in your obliques and it's also working your glute and the sides of your legs, okay? So I've got two more. Another nice way to do that exercise is to, if you have a TheraBand or a box, you can rest this top foot onto that box and you can still do the exercise. We can show that in another session. I will do that with you. Then we're going to do the other side so we're even. So again, laying down, head resting down, you're on your side. This hand is relaxed in a comfortable position, knees, and we're going to do our clams, okay? So we're doing our clams first. 10 clams. Making sure you're moving in alignment, that you're not rocking back and you're not rocking forward. Just keeping those hips square out in front, like they've got headlights on them and they're shining a light out in front. It's amazing how our body tries to get out of working these bigger muscles, okay? So just be onto it. If you're feeling other muscles working, we really want these glute working at the back of the hip, okay? And last one. Okay, leg circles, 10 in each direction. think that's about 10. And around in the opposite direction. Again, let that breath help you get through those last ones. So you know it's burning. Good, all right, lengthen down those legs. Lift that top leg, exhale, and lift that bottom leg. You're aiming for the knees coming together. That's a better way of thinking rather than your feet, okay? So keep the knees coming together. The rest of the body's relaxed. Exhale up, and last one. Good, remember you could do the alternate as well for that exercise. Okay, I'm going to flip up this end, but what I want you to do is you're going to roll over onto your front and we're going to do the diamond press, okay? So rolling over onto your front. So the diamond press, actually I might explain this sitting up for a little bit to start off with. So the diamond press is basically you're looking into a space that's a diamond on the mat, okay? So when you're looking into the mat, you're pulling your head back into like almost like a chin tuck, okay? That's the kind of feeling that you want to be able to bring into it. So it's this. But you're laying down on your face, you're going to do that, okay? So let's do that one now. So your forehead is resting onto your thumbs. So where your eyebrows is where your thumbs are, where your thumbs are is where your eyebrows are resting. And your shoulders are down into your back pockets. And you're going to push up and look into that space onto the mat. And back down. That's it. Might take a few just to get that feeling right, but it feels a little bit like a chin tuck. And I like to say it's almost like you're trying to read fine print written on the mat in front of you. Just trying to adjust your vision to see what's written on the mat. Okay, and then last one. Now roll up the mat. Your forehead can rest onto that mat so you can breathe a little bit. You've got a bit of space under your nose to breathe. You're going to bring your arms long down by your side, almost as if you're reaching towards your ankles. Okay, that's the direction. So as your arms come down and they wrap around at the back. So just do a couple of those first. Reaching down, squeeze shoulder blades together and back down. Almost like your palms are facing your bottom and back down. Squeezing down and back. And if all that feels okay, with the next one I'm going to get you to lift your chest up off the mat and back down. So again, your thighs are lifting off the mat. Into our dart. And back. And last one. Good, and back down. Placing hands at shoulder height. You're going to come up into a little bit of a chest lift, lifting your chest and heart up off the mat, and then come back down. For a little bit of a neck stretch, you can rest your head, let your arms relax, and rest your head to the side. Exhale again. Pick your head up, turn it to the opposite side. You might notice tension more in one side than the other. And then coming up, bringing your hands under your chest, under your shoulders. We're going to come up. You're going to rest your sit bones back towards your bottom. Exhaling down. Holding here for a moment. Breathing in. Into the resting child's pose. Okay, next one we're going to do is our cat-cow. Okay, so I just adjust myself. So we want wrists directly underneath shoulders and knees directly underneath hip, okay? And we're going to start off in a neutral spine, so here, and we're going to pull our belly button to our spine, and we're going to arch up into a big cat stretch, head hanging down between shoulders, and then start with the tail, keep the head where it is, and let the tail curl up to the sky behind you, creating that arch extension out in front. Again, pulling up, keeping the head where it is, pulling up into that big cat stretch, pushing yourself away from the mat, and then again, tail up to the sky behind you, heart and chest to the wall out in front, and again, pulling up. It's like the head is the last thing to move, okay? So that's the last thing to move because it's on the end of the spine. That's the finished position. Again, pulling up. And last one. Good. All right, we're going to bring our knees wider now. We're going to bring our toes together, push the bottom back, rest down, elbows. If you want, bring your hands together, and we're going to rest our forehead onto our hands. We're going to inhale here, exhale. Again, inhale and exhale. Then we're going to start to come back up again. Bring your knees underneath your hips and your wrists underneath your shoulders. And we're going to send that leg behind you, back, and this arm out in front. We're going to do our pointer dog, okay? And the leg comes up and back down. I'm just going to march forward a smidge. Again, toes out onto the mat behind you, arms. Good, and back down. So this is a really good core exercise. As long as you're not dipping in the centre, so the idea is that your hips stay square in the centre, you're not leaning over. And back down. Again, reaching, lengthening, hip comes up, and you feel like you're lengthening out. Okay, you want to feel like you're getting longer rather than higher. Longer and stronger through the centre. Good. One more on each side. Good, and then back to centre. Okay, we're going to rest back into child's pose again, resting those hips back down again. And then we'll come back up. We're going to roll over onto our back now. We're going to do our hip series. So you'll need your TheraBand handy. We're going to use that now. I'm hoping this music isn't too loud for you and that the recording, you can actually still hear me. But it's beautiful music. It's one of my favourite pieces to do Pilates to. Okay, so we're going to start with our foot in the strap as it is now, and we're going to point and flex our toes, okay? So you feel that calf stretch and back up. So as you can see, the whole of my forefoot is in the TheraBand, as you can see, okay? So that's the support. My elbows are anchored down at a right angle into the mat, and try to release any tension that you have in your shoulders. But just let that foot get that stretch, okay? And the other leg's supporting you. It's bent, it's not straight. Do a couple more of these. Again, strengthening the foot by pointing and then stretching that calf. Good. We're going to raise and lower this leg now, bringing it down and letting it come up. So you're getting a hamstring stretch at the top, exhaling into that stretch. So exhale here and then inhale as you lower, okay? Exhale, inhale, lower. Got 4 more. 2 and 1. Okay. Now with this next one, we're going to lower the leg down and swing it around. Okay? So the idea is that this leg is supporting you, okay? So this leg comes down and it spins around and keeping your pelvis connected into the mat. So you don't want to be lifting off your pelvis. You're using these adductors on this leg with the knee bent to help support that leg from swinging around. Okay, so we're swinging around, we're mobilizing the thigh bone into the hip, exhaling around. And that's why I like using this TheraBand in particular, because the strength is just right, okay? It's not too loose and it's not too strong that it restricts the movement. You still get this really lovely supported feeling and mobilizing through that hip, but it's not so, I suppose, insecure feeling, okay? All right, now we're going to swap the legs over. Other side, again, forefoot into the TheraBand, pushing up, pushing into those toes if you can, and stretching into that heel. Hands pretty much haven't moved from position. They're not down here or anything like that. Just keep them in there, nice and strong. Probably good for your biceps too, for what it's worth. Pointing, and flex, point, and flex. You've got 2 more. Good. All right, we're going to lower the leg down now into our hamstring raise and lowers, coming up to the top. At the top we exhale. Inhale to the bottom. And last one. Good. Okay, we're going to do our hip circles now. So the leg comes down and it swings around and the other leg is supporting you. Exhale down and around. So it's one big exhale breath. Inhale at the top. 2 more of these. That might have been 3. Okay, now if it's comfortable for you, you can bring both legs and put both legs into the TheraBand. This is the start of our teaser exercise, okay? So we're going to start off. Our legs are going to lower down and we're going to look into our belly, bringing our head up off the mat, looking into our belly and let the legs pull us up. Yeah? And then back down again. Okay? So again, looking into the belly, let the legs and let the band come back up. And you can practice a few of those if you like, if that felt good for you. And we'll refine those as we move on. So that's enough with the TheraBand now. We're going to do another fun exercise, and that's called roll like a ball. So while we're in this position here, let's go with that. So it's a nice rolling action to help massage the back. So don't be too alarmed. I've got a seam running right across the centre of my reformer bed here where the 2 platforms meet. So mine will make a lot of crackling noises. Hopefully you don't have the same effect over there. But the idea is that you bring your knees into your chest and you create a C curve, as I am, and you're looking into your belly button and you're bringing your knees in nice and tight and you're balancing here. Okay, you might start off with, you might be here, and that's fine. But the idea is we get you balancing back, making sure that you've got a clear runway behind you and that you're not going to, land on anything behind you like a book or anything. And we're just going to roll back and come back up again. So it's a gentle roll and it's controlled. Okay, exhaling back. Sorry, I'm going to say that again. We're actually going to inhale back and exhale to come back up, okay? So you get that bit of support. Now you can see how I've just twisted over into this direction over here. That's when all my muscles aren't firing up evenly, okay? You want them working together evenly. So I've got a twist going on with my firing at the moment, and that's something that I'm going to try and correct as I'm doing this exercise, okay? So that's what roll like the ball is great for. So exhaling, come down, and you're trying to feel all those muscles. Particularly if you close your eyes, you may end up being a bit crooked, okay? So you lose a bit of direction. It's almost like a compass, okay? Rolling down. 2 more. Yeah, I'm straighter now. And let's go 1 more for luck. Good work. All right, now I'm going to do some mermaids because I love this piece of the music and I love it being able to do mermaids to this music. So coming around to the front, we're sitting in a Z shape. Okay, so we're here, this leg's resting behind us, this hand is going to rest out in front, elbow's going to soften towards the body as we come over, palm facing towards the head, and we're coming up, okay? This hand holds onto the side of the knee and brings you over. And the idea is that you feel like you're moving between 2 planes of glass. So you're not rocking forward and you're not leaning back. You're keeping in that nice centerpiece, okay? Exhaling. So it's a lifting up under the arm as well, okay? Watching the neck, making sure it's not too twisty, that it's just moving on the end of the spine. We're going to swap legs around and we'll do the same on the other side. Again, the elbow comes into the body when we come over this way, so it's almost like we're leaning into it as we come over. Helps keep the shoulders safe from being crunched. Again. Last one here. And last one here. Beautiful. Okay, we bring our legs together. Sorry, crossed. If that's okay for you. Sit up nice and tall. Bring those shoulders down. And we're going to do a bit of a rotation in the neck. Making sure that feels all okay. Good. We're going to bring one hand across the front. Bring that hand to the back of you, so you're in a rotation. This is your twist, okay? So this is a spine twist. I want you to keep your back straight, not locked out, but just straight, okay? So you're not slumped. And if you do feel a bit slumped, you can put a cushion underneath your bottom so you feel a little bit higher up on your sit bones to help protect that back. Or just don't do this exercise. You can just sit there with your legs crossed and do a bit of a hip stretch. So we're rotating here, just gently twisting our shoulder, putting weight into that hand there and pushing ourselves around just slightly, gently, 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 and then back to center. Okay, other side. Again, rotation, gentle. Exhale. And the rotation is through the ribs, okay? So, or through the upper back, not necessarily through the hips. So the hips stay where they are and the upper back. Again, other side if that feels okay for you. Rotation. Again, rib cage. Feel like your sternum's coming to that wall in front. And again, last one here. Good. We're going to come back and do a hip flexor stretch now. So this is where you'll need your pillow, perhaps underneath your knee, just to protect your knees a little bit, depending on what floor you have or what mat you have. So that knee is going to be there, supported. And this leg comes forward. I'm just making sure you can see what I'm doing here. Start off, I want your knee above your ankle, and you're going to sink down into the stretch. And then we're going to come back off and then sink down into that stretch. So exhaling as you come down into the stretch and then backing off. So it's across the front of the hip, we're feeling it here. And you may also be feeling it in the other hamstring as well underneath, in the other leg. Coming up, exhaling down. And with each little stretch that you do, you might find yourself getting that little bit longer and stretching down further each time, okay? But it's about creeping up on the muscle to get that stretch in. Bring that arm up and back down. Again, exhale down. That arm coming up is just giving the stretch, making it a little bit longer. Giving a little bit of a tilt of the ribs can also help create a bit more of a stretch into that hip flexor. Okay, we're going to swap sides and do the other side now. Again, leg out in front, knee just over heels, sinking down, exhale down, inhale back up. Again. Again. And with the next one, we bring the arm up into the stretch, if that's okay for you. Bring your arm down and then bring it back up. And we're just lifting the chest slightly as we bring that arm up overhead. And that helps with that little bit more of a release into that hip flexor, into that psoas. And then backing down. Okay, and then that's those ones. Now we're going to take a moment to come back onto your back, and we're going to do a little tremoring session, okay? So to start off with, you're going to just keep your feet mat width apart, and you're going to just drop in, let one of your feet, I don't know whether you can see, that's probably a better one. So I want you to let your knee drop down into the mat and be on the side of your foot on the other side there, as you can see. And then we're going to swap sides, okay? So we're rotating from one to the other, just giving yourself again a bit more of a stretch across the front of the hips, and you can also probably feel that in the back of the hip as well. So it's a bit of a knock-kneed feeling, okay? So don't necessarily let the other leg roll out, keep the other leg where it is, out here. It's a bit hard to see with my black pants, I know, but that's where we're at. And one more on either side. It just helps release off to the side of the hips as well. Okay. Good. And so now we're going to do a little bit of an introduction to TRE. I'm going to get you to bring your feet together so they're in the butterfly position, and let your knees just gently drop out to the side. The rest of your body is just completely relaxed onto the mat. You're going to inhale, exhale. And let your legs just flop out to the side as comfortable as they can be. We'll take a few breaths here. We're going to bring your knees up together slightly, a couple of inches up off the mat so they're a little bit closer together. And just keep that pressure into the feet. Again, you can close your eyes. We're not going to move too much from this position here. And just notice what you notice in your body. You might notice some tremoring in your thighs already, in the adductors, just tremoring there. And if that's the case and you can already feel your tremors starting, then that's great. I'll just get you to lengthen your legs out and hold there for a moment. Take a couple of breaths. So at any time you can stop those tremors. You just need to lengthen out your legs and let them, and they'll stop naturally. And then we take a moment, we have a couple of breaths there just to relax, and again bring the legs back together again, starting back in the same position that you just finished off from, okay? So we're back into that position there. And then we hold that for a little bit longer, just waiting for the breath to come. We're not forcing anything, waiting for those tremors to come, I should say. And just relaxing. And make it a moment to connect in with your body. So you're not thinking about what's going on out in the world. You are literally just noticing where those tremors are starting, or where you're bracing, where you're stopping the movements from starting. Might be in your shoulders, might be in your jaw, it might be in your neck. Wherever it is, just notice what you notice in your body. Bring your knees a little bit closer together now, so the feet stay in their connected butterfly position. And you just squeeze your thighs a little bit closer, and you might start to feel a bit of the tremors now as well. It's very much a start and stop process with this exercise. Again, it's about not overloading your body by forcing it to continuously tremor, okay? It's about reconnecting with your body and recognizing that it's got its own process of releasing the stress, and we're not forcing it. We're not getting in our own way. Okay, so my legs are starting to tremor now, and I'm going to honour that, and I'm going to let them have a little release, lengthening my legs down and stopping it. So it's a stop and start to begin with. As you get familiar with this process and you're more comfortable with it and you know what the how your body integrates the tremors, then you can start to build. You can just pretty much go straight into the tremors and let them, it's like a 15-minute process and it's all over and done with. But while you're beginning, you're just starting it nice and slow. It's like any workout at the gym. You just don't want to go in there all gung-ho and, come out the next day and you've had all the repercussions of, well, if you overdo your tremoring, you can have nightmares and you might have pimples and you might have, an immune response in regards to like getting a cold or something like that because you've let out too much too soon. So there's that overwhelm that rebuilds back into the body. So I've just brought my legs back up and I've resumed the same position I just left off from. And as you can see, I'm starting to tremor. My feet are still together, but I'm going to flatten them now. And I'm just going to keep my knees just outside of my hips, okay? So my knees are just out to the side of where my hips are and my shoulders. So they're not too close together because that can also maybe block them, but not in my case, but in new people it might. And my tremors are working. I don't know whether you can see them because I've got the black tights on. And it's not a competition, of course, but it's just a recognition, understanding that it's like a co-regulation, is the word I'm actually looking for. So knowing that it's a natural thing that we're doing, the tremoring, that we're releasing that stress, reassures you and your body that it's okay to tremor. Okay, it's just like when someone yawns in a room and you watch someone yawn and you start to yawn too. It's a sign to all of our nervous systems that it's safe to yawn. You wouldn't yawn in a very stressful situation. You'd be wound up and tense. So it's a good sign, okay? So I guess I've spoken enough here today. So if you've got some tremors, that's great. Perhaps the tremors aren't something you want to go into. They feel weird and you don't like to feel them. Whatever it is, that's fine. But it's a good moment for you to maybe just lengthen your legs down and, just do a body scan. Notice how your body feels from your feet to the backs of your knees, to your hips, to your stomach, to your digestion, to your heart, connecting into that heart space as well, noticing your breath, just observing your body, taking a moment just to notice it in all its glory, how hard it works for you every single day. It only wants to keep you safe and comfortable, really. And again, that breath is really important. First act of life and the last act of life. Vital for life. Meanwhile, I'm still trembling. So now I invite you to slowly lengthen your legs out. If you're already done that, that's great. Going to roll onto your side. You just take a moment there, rest your head onto your hands and just take a moment, and you can just reflect. Let that integrate all of what we've just done. You might want to stay there for a little bit longer, that's fine. You might want to close your eyes and have a little sleep. That's totally fine as well. It's 8 o'clock in the morning here in Australia.
No, it's not. It's actually just after 9, sorry. We started at 8. But yeah, just lay there for a moment and have a little snooze if you want to. Whatever you feel your body wants to do. I often like to lay there for a moment and then I just grab a journal and I just write about my experience today. And it might be something like, what are 5 things I'm grateful for today? And I'll sit down and I'll write those. I'll start here. I might also write, what message do I have for myself today? And I'll write that down as well. But whatever it is, just put pen to paper and just let the words flow. Okay, so just let it all come out. Message from your higher self through the pen and into your journal, and just see what's written. Notice your writing as well. Mine looks like chicken scratchings after I do a session, and sometimes it looks absolutely neat and tidy. It just depends on where my headspace is at and what I've got going on in my life. But that's all for today. I wish you a beautiful day and I will see you next Tuesday.